This week on SportCom Sport Chat, Zach Eisenberg, Logan Roberson, and myself will discuss the IU Purdue basketball game, the NBA trade deadline, and MLB as we head to spring training. Hey guys, I'm joined by Logan Roberson. I'm Hank Glassner. How you doing, Logan?
Doing all right, Hank. How are you?
Not too well after what happened to Indiana or Purdue. Purdue basically outworked them for the entire game. IU showed a lack of effort almost at times and just never really got into it where there was a chance for them to win the game. You never really thought that they were going to win the game, did you?
Well, not just maybe right before the game, just because of some of the energy that the students were bringing, but that might have been just my own optimism coming out. But no, I mean, Purdue's a good team, and Purdue is a better team than IU, and that's a game they should win. A top 8 team, can win games like that. But no, their energy just wasn't there, and the criticism now is it on the players, is it on the coaches? And there's been a lot of criticism on the players, but I think a lot of it's got to start to fall back more on the coaches. And Tom Crean's been kind of calling out some players in the post game, and I just don't think that's really the right thing to be doing. He doesn't need to be like bringing down his players and taking away their confidence right now, especially in this kind of time.
It doesn't seem like he's using his players to the best of his abilities. He almost seems like he's back at Marquette where he had strong guard play. He doesn't really have as strong guard play as he does here, and he's not really using them to the best of their abilities. I think their offensive sets are a little out of whack. At times they have no clue what they're doing coming out of timeouts, and their substitution patterns are very, very mystifying. So I think a lot of that has to fall on the coach, not just the players. So
well, yeah, the substitution pattern is the thing that really just doesn't make sense to me. Will Sheehy was playing really well in that second half and played about 3 or 4 minutes and then got subbed out. Just because he played that many minutes doesn't mean he has to be subbed out right away for Bobby Capobianco, who came in and really I think he got like 2 fouls early and then was taken out right away.
Even the student section was kind of almost booing at times when players like Bobby Capobianco and Daniel Moore came in. Daniel Moore came in with 6 minutes left when players like Will Sheehy and Victor Oladipo were left on the bench.
And Jordan Hulls wasn't playing there late in the game either. So some of the substitution patterns I don't really understand, as well as just their lack of offense. You kind of mentioned what they have at Marquette. He had some strong guard play.
Very strong.
But a good coach will adapt to offenses and players that he has. He doesn't have a strong guard that can run that pick and roll all of the time. So you have to adapt as a good coach and kind of work your offense around that. And I just haven't seen that. He's still trying to run the same stuff that he wants to, regardless of the players that he has on the court.
And we could talk about coaching all that we want, but one thing that this team really lacks on the floor is almost leadership. There is no real leader on the floor. I don't care whether it's a freshman, a senior, whatnot. There's no one player to take his team by on their back and say, hey, this is what's going to happen. We're going to go out and win this game. We're going to play as hard as we can. And we haven't really seen that all year.
Yeah, I think a player that has tried to do that a little bit has been Jordan Hulls. And there's been times where I saw in that second half he kind of started to take over a little bit. Early in the second half, he started hitting a couple of shots, and you could see that he wanted the ball, but then he was taken out late in the game, and it's like you can't take your leader out that late.
I'm talking about more from a body language perspective. You got to have that one player on the court that's so enthusiastic, that provides energy nonstop, that will get in his player's ear and tell him what to do. You haven't really seen that on this team, and that's what they lack, and that's what the top teams in the league have. But imagine if Purdue still had Robbie Hummel. They'd probably be the top team in all of the country.
Yeah, I mean, it was a devastating loss for them to lose Robbie Hummel, but at the same time, they still have 2 All-Americans on that team. They're going to do all right, and they're going to make some noise in the tournament. As much as I hate to say it, being an IU fan and how much I dislike the Boilermakers, but no, they're a really good team, and we really stood no chance against them the other night.
Great players, Etwan Moore and Jawan Johnson, and they play very good team defense. Matt Painter has done a great job and does deserve some Coach of the Year talk for losing one of the best players in the nation. Yeah. So when we come back, we will talk a little NBA trade deadline action for you.
Welcome back. I'm joined by At the Buzzer's co-host Hank Glassner. Hank, the NBA trade deadline ended Thursday at 3 p.m. Now, who are two clear winners of the NBA trade deadline that could advance to the playoffs?
Well, this trade deadline was insane, first of all. I've never seen a trade deadline the way that this trade deadline unfolded. But if you want to see clear winners, I think you have to look at Oklahoma City, first of all, grabbing the center that they desperately have needed for the past couple of years in Kendrick Perkins. You can look at New York. They finally get their man Carmelo Anthony. This is more of a win for the future. Sorry, Knicks fans, they're not going to win now, but give them a couple of years because they kind of gutted their roster to get Melo just to make sure with the new collective bargaining agreement and so forth. So this is more of a win for the future. New Jersey's a winner. They get Darren Williams, but they have to make sure they keep Darren Williams. They have to buy. Mikhail Prokhorov and company has to buy. Make sure to persuade them to buy into their system. And the other winners, Atlanta was great. They upgraded over Mike Bibby with Kirk Heinrich. The Clippers unloaded Baron Davis's massive contract. And Phoenix is a little winner too, as they unloaded. They didn't unload, but they got point guard Aaron Brooks, which allows them to possibly trade Steve Nash over the offseason.
Now, the Celtics were the favorite to win the championship at the beginning of the season. Some fans are surprised by the moves that they made. They're quote-unquote the losers of the trade deadline by trading away Kendrick Perkins. What are your thoughts about that, and how do you think this will affect the team?
I don't understand this trade from a Boston standpoint. Kendrick Perkins was a rock in the middle of your defense and in the paint, and he is, when he's healthy, probably the best interior post defender in the league. So they never really lost a playoff together when those five were healthy in Boston. And I don't really understand this. To get Jeff Green, a guy who isn't going to start for your team, yes, he's a good player, but how important is he going to be to the Boston Celtic team when you have players like Paul Pierce already in the folds? So I don't really understand this. I don't know Danny Ainge's mindset around this. I understand that you can't sign Kendrick Perkins after this year. I would understand that. But Jeff Green's on a contract year too, if I'm not mistaken, and he wants massive money too. And for a guy who's averaging almost 18 points a game with Oklahoma City, I don't really understand this, but Oklahoma City's ready to contend. No doubt about it. They finally have their rock in the middle that they can rely on. They finally have a center going for the future if they can re-sign him.
Well, only time will tell how these deals will pay off. And as the NBA season winds down, that means one thing. MLB season is right around the corner. So stay tuned when we will talk about the MLB spring training. Welcome back. MLB spring training is underway, and there have already been significant injuries, most notably Adam Wainwright, who is going to be out for the entire season. Logan, how do you think this will affect the Cardinals' pitching staff?
Well, that's huge for the Cardinals. I mean, he's been probably their best pitcher in the last 2 or 3 seasons. And one of the best pitchers in the major leagues for the past couple of seasons as well. His ERA is, I think, second lowest in the last 2 seasons. And, I mean, even better than Chris Carpenter, and obviously Chris Carpenter's a great pitcher. So they're going to lose and he was second in the Cy Young voting last year. So they're going to lose a very, very dominant pitcher. And it's going to be hard to replace him. I mean, obviously, they're just going to shift their guys up and move and then try to find a new 5-starter. But that's going to be a huge loss for them this season.
Definitely. Some say they may go after Kevin Millwood, but we'll have to see what happens. He's not quite the replacement for Adam Wainwright. But another guy with some off-field troubles is Miguel Cabrera of the Detroit Tigers, who was arrested on suspicion of DUI recently. How do you think that'll affect his season? He's gone through problems like this before. Mm-hmm. Do you think this is something he could overcome, or do you think it's going to be a constant problem throughout the season?
Yeah, I think it's something he will overcome, and he's already come out and apologized. He's had a big press conference about it, apologized to the media, apologized to the fans, apologized to the cops, actually, who arrested him that night. So I think, he's had his issues. He'll move on from that, and now he's really going to concentrate on baseball. The Tigers are behind him, and they're willing to let him move on from this as well.
It's always good to have a big support system behind you in anything that you do, and we wish Miguel the best in all his endeavors. So stay tuned. When we come back, we'll talk about some upcoming features of IU sports.
Welcome back to SportCom Sport Chat, guys. As we end this show, let's hear about one thing you're looking forward to in this next week of sports.
Well, as much as I don't want to say it, I'm looking forward to the Big Ten tournament. We'll see how IU does, but there's going to be some good basketball. And then on top of that, it's right there, March Madness is coming.
I can't wait for March Madness. The Big Ten tournament's a couple weeks away. How about you, Zach?
One thing I'm looking forward to is IU taking on Wisconsin in basketball. They got to avenge the loss against in-state rival Purdue. So hopefully Coach Crean can fire them up and be able to knock off a top-seeded team in Wisconsin. And another thing I'm looking forward to is we just had the NBA trade deadline. Now, Monday is the NHL trade deadline. That's like Christmas in March or February, whatever they call
it. For you
it
is.
For me. But it's one of the greatest days in all of sports, especially hockey, because of the salary cap and how the general managers have to be able to work in trades to manage the salary cap and balance their roster. So I think it's one of the greatest days in all of sports.
Speaking of the NBA trade deadline, the one thing that I'm looking forward to is seeing how these teams do with their new acquisitions. I can't wait to see Kendrick Perkins in Oklahoma City. We've seen Melo already and what he could be like in New York. Can't wait to see what Darren Williams is like in New Jersey and so forth. So it's going to be very, very exciting to see almost the revamped NBA because there's so many acquisitions, so many new faces and new places. So I can't wait to see it. But I think that about does it. For Logan Roberson and Zach Eisenberg, I'm Hank Glassner. Thanks for tuning in to SportCom Sport Chat, and we will see you next time.